Hi, everyone. Welcome to SBR Sports Picks. His name is Jimmy the Bag. My name is Peter Loshak. Today is Monday, January 8th, National Championship College Football Day. So we didn't have a morning Loshak in the Bag show. We have very few games going on tonight. And this show is going to be abridged half an hour because we're running over to the Sheraton Hotel where we're going to do some live shows from the Sheraton. Right, Jim? Do you know exactly what we're doing? What are we doing from? Tell the folks what we're doing from the Sheraton while I pull up the
we're going to be getting drunk and eating chicken wings, live betting. Sports page Gabe Morency will be hosting the whole shebang. Okay. And we're just going to be getting fucked up and adding little bits.
All right. So then there's going to be, is there many picks or analysis, or is just going to be, well, what are we doing over there?
You know, I've never done this before, so I'm just going to be getting fucked up.
All right. But are we doing a halftime show, or what are we doing? Because last year, I remember, I pretty much nailed last year. I gave the first half under and then the second half over, and both those picks cashed easily. So we'll see what we're going to do today. You don't know what the actual schedule is?
I don't know, but I'm excited. It'll be a really fun night.
Yeah. Spirital 8 says, yes, Loshak looks cool, kinda. Yeah, quite a change of pace from last time, right? Huh? Yeah, looking pretty slick now. Yeah, where's the jokes now?
Kinda though.
Now everyone's jealous of like how I can look so poised and cool after looking like a freaking geek with biceps as thick as my wrists in the last show. All right, so. So we're going to handicap the one NHL game. We're going to go over the NBA slate. And Jimmy the Bag, did you look at any of the college games? There's only minor like Patriot League games today, but did you look at any of those?
I know a couple plays that people are on, but I just focused on the NBA card.
I actually did make one bet on today's card on college basketball, which I will give. You know, if you have it's a minor game, so some books might not even be offering it, but it's not a guarantee that your book will be offering it. But I did bet it, and we'll be able to discuss it as well. All right, so I guess let's start with one game on the NHL card. Now, of course, we could pass on this one, but I did bet this one, Jimmy the Bag. Toronto, have they turned a corner? They've got 2 wins. Both of them were shootouts. So it's not super inspiring, but it seems like they're in a little bit of a better spot in general at this point of the year than Columbus is, who looks like it's very favorable to me. And I did take Toronto -1. I actually beat the line move. I got it at about plus 100. Now it's gone up a little bit. Do you have anything to say about this NHL game before we move on to the NBA?
I found it a tricky spot. As you said, Leafs are coming off back-to-back 3-2 shootout wins. 5-4-1 in their last 10 on the 4th game of a 6-game homestand, which is usually a nice spot. 4th game of a 6-game homestand. The Leafs are squeaking out wins and not playing to their potential. And they still have a good record. Their special teams are strong. 8th in power play at 21%, 6th on the penalty kill. Jackets won the last time these two teams met, December 20th in Columbus 4-2. Jackets are 4-4-2 in their last 10, have won 2 of 3. They still have the worst power play in the league. They got a goal on it last game. They're still at 12.6%. I don't see that changing without Brandon Dubinsky, Cam Atkinson, Alexander Wenberg. I found it a difficult place to hammer and to find an angle. I almost took the over because I think these 5.5s with the Leafs will have value. And then I studied the Jackets a little more and was like, I just don't see an angle here, and I left it away.
I took the over. You think the line is just too high? You think that? I know Bobrovsky is starting, right? Or he's so that's just back-to-back, right? He started yesterday too.
Yeah, right. I was surprised to see that. Let me just make sure that's confirmed.
So if he's starting back-to-back, don't you think that's you think with a guy of his talent doesn't really matter?
To be honest with you, I like when goalies start back-to-back. I feel like, they don't sleep in the afternoon. They completely prepare for the game. They're limber, loose, ready to go. I have no problem. It's just that you can't start them back-to-back every time you have them all year. But at this time of the year, I think it's a nice spot.
So you think that my bet on Toronto -1 was a little bit ill-advised then?
They say it's not for. Oh no, it's confirmed now at 546. No, I don't think it's ill-advised. I just it was my lean. It was my only lean of the card, and I'm leaving it alone.
All right, well I'll bet it. So I did. I will give this one as a pick. Toronto -1. The best money line right now -170. That is at Pinnacle and a few other places. And the puck line, best puck line is plus 170 also. All right, so I'm getting exactly plus 100 here on Toronto -1. That's almost exactly where I bet it. You know, it's a high line, but I'm kind of high on Toronto right now. Very down on Colorado, on Columbus, whatever the fuck they're called, and I'm going to take it -1, -170 on the money line, plus 170 on the puck line. Jimmy the Bag.
Yeah, it's I get it. PB38 says leaning over in the Leafs game.
Definitely leaning over on that one.
You know, but then he says would also lean Blue Jackets a nice plus money. Game is so close.
Right.
I know a guy that I run with, Jemiah James, who comes with us, Too Sharp to Be Square, and he liked the Jackets tonight. And I looked into it, and I couldn't jump on them with him. And I asked him, to give me more info on why he liked it, but it was too close to the showtime, and I haven't got it yet. I'm
thinking that Toronto is going to start picking it up again. I know their last 2 wins were shootouts, and I'm thinking that Columbus has some serious issues right now. In general, I'm looking to fade them. I don't like laying this big of a line, usually, but I feel like I'm looking for spots when they're going up against a team that's either in a good spot or a team that I'm looking to bet on. In general, I'm seeing Columbus as a fadeable team right now. You disagree?
I agree with that. I agree with that. Their offense is extremely weak right now. I thought they had a good thing going with the Dubois line with Josh Anderson on the wing. I thought he gave them size and truculence, but they've moved off of that. They're a strange team, and these guys, Dubinsky and Atkinson. So first off, I think Wenberg has to be their #1 center and play like that for this team to be successful. He's out of the lineup, but Dubinsky's a real character guy. He's the kind of guy who fights Crosby. He's the guy that they really need. And Atkinson, they desperately need on the power play. So I think that makes sense. I just feel like the Leafs are squeaking by all these wins.
I know. I don't like that. I don't like that. But my sense is that they're about to be turning a corner. You don't think that's the case?
I looked at their roster. We had quite a bit of time today, and they have a ton of depth.
Yes,
this should be the time of the year where other teams go through the doldrums, and the Leafs step up. They're a young team. They should have legs going. So I think that makes sense. And as soon as I feel like it's happening, I'm going to jump on it with you.
Okay. All right. So let's move on to NBA. Once again, I gave just one pick. Toronto -1 at exactly plus 100. Jimmy the Bag is passing on that game. By the way, Jimmy and I in the wild card round of the playoffs, I went 2-0. Jimmy went 2-1. So we definitely pretty much nailed the wild card round. All right. So let's move on to NBA. Bunch of games tonight. I am taking it on the chin in NBA. I'm down only negative units though, but I am working on my friggin' spreadsheet, which I made some headway on today. So hopefully I'll be able to turn things around a little bit. Looking at today's card, obviously the first thing that jumps out at me is Toronto absolutely rolling right on the road. Could be a little bit trappy to see their last 2 games dominance on the road and to expect a third straight dominant road win by Toronto. Maybe Brooklyn's worth a shot. What do you think?
Well, I have decided to take the under in this basketball game. A couple different reasons. Let's break down the game first. The Raptors are 10-2 in their last 12. DeRozan is playing out of his mind, averaging 28.8 points, hitting 50.7% from the field, 48.2% from 3 since December 11th. He's putting together a monster season, averaging 25 points while shooting 48.7 from the field with a career-high 36.8 from 3, which is a new dimension he never had. In the 2 games since surpassing Vince Carter's single-game record, he's just put up 55 points on 17 from 32 shooting. He's in the zone. When he scores over 25 points, the Raptors are 19-2. When he shoots over 50%, they're 17-2. The Raptors have been off since Friday when they beat up on the Bucks in Milwaukee, 129-110, a game that I was way off on. In the third quarter, they outscored the Bucks 43-19, shot 68%, and out-rebounded them 18-2. They beat the Nets 9 straight times. Their latest victory over them on December 15th, they won 120-87 at the ACC. We remember that game because I wasn't even on them until we saw all the people who were missing from the Nets lineup late. Damari Carroll, it was just a list of guys who were left off the lineup, and Damari Carroll will be off tonight. The Raps shot 55% in that game. DeRozan went 14 for 19. The Raptors are a completely healthy squad. The Nets are 3-2 in their last 5, have tightened everything up defensively. And that's why I think that we can take the under. They're going to take this game extremely seriously. They've allowed just 94.8 points per game over their last 5. They're coming off a very hard-fought 87-85 loss to the Celtics. They had a season-high 11 blocks in that game. They out-rebounded the Celtics 55-44, but shot a season-worst 33%. Spencer Dinwiddie has 46 points over his last 2 games, 55.2% shooting. They're not going to have Carroll, but they are going to have Chris LeVert back in the lineup. I think that if the Raptors blow them out, it will go under.
Mm-hmm.
And if the Nets play very hard and strong on the perimeter and try to find some matchups, then I think it will go under. I feel like the under is the spot.
I was thinking that as well. I did pick it on my spreadsheets. I didn't bet it though because I'm treading lightly in the NBA because I'm focusing on what I know I do well and treading very lightly in the NBA, at least on the pregame stuff. But I was definitely leaning under as well. Toronto's been so explosive offensively, and you think that that's why this line is a little bit high and why we might want to see, we might expect something a little bit different, because I felt that way about the recent Dallas-Chicago game, and I was way off on that one. Different situation.
I was thankful to be off of that game. That was just such a tricky spot. I just think that the Nets have figured it out. Atkinson's done a great job. They figured out the only way that they can win is if they defend as well as hit, threes. They don't seem to be able to do that in the same game. I don't know if it's extra energy being expended when they defend the perimeter, but I think it's a nice spot. Luke Charleston's with it. He's like, I like the under 2, Jim. Let's eat.
Well, it's 217 and a half, but the Greek has 218, so we can give you that one, the under 218, which is right about where it opened. I'm thinking maybe I'll tail you on that one, but I feel like if I don't tail you, you have a nice little winner there. If I do tail you, we'll both have losses. And
don't think like that, and trust yourself.
Yeah.
You're a great capper.
Yes,
and we're going to finish off this NBA season strong. I didn't get rolling until you gave me the inspirational speech.
Damn Skippy.
I believe in you, man.
No, my only concern here is just that Toronto has been absolutely rolling offensively against all comers, but you think that is, why that happened, and you don't expect it tonight.
I just think that the Nets defense has improved a lot.
Yeah.
Alert Eddie, a great capper. He says Nets don't play fast anymore.
Yeah. All right, I'll take it with you guys. Brooklyn under 218 minus 110. I mean, I had a winner with the Minnesota game. Remember on the under? That was a great call. Let's check. In fact, let's check out the first half total here, which is 110 and a half, 111 and a half. What do you think about the first half under?
I have found, just for my success, keeping things simple and trying not to double up on games.
Right. Well, I am going to double up on this one. I'm going to take the first half under. It's 110 and a half, 111, or 111 and a half.
Oh, wow. And we're getting lots of good insight. King Rail on the under as well. Reggie says, Loshak, get your ass on the Nets under.
Yes, I'm on it. I'm on it two ways, actually. I'm taking the first half under as well. 111 and a half minus 110. That's the line at UWager and Bookmaker. All right, we broke the hell down out of that game. Let's move on to Detroit, New Orleans, just because this is a very interesting game. What's up with New Orleans? Detroit very up and down. New Orleans up and down too. Should New Orleans be better than we've been seeing from them?
They should be, and I feel like after they play terribly, they come strong. Right. My lean is towards the Pelicans, and I kind of left it off right now, and I think I might change that. Let's get this game figured out, but JP Faye's on the under with the Nets as well. I'd like this. One night after the Pistons were embarrassed by 36 points versus Sixers, they came back to beat the Rockets by 7. Right. And I think the Pelicans can do the same type of thing here. Now, the Pistons did that without Drummond, Jackson, Johnson. They were led by Toby Harris, his 27 points. They had 6 players in double figures. Now, the Pelicans are in the same situation, coming off an ugly 116-98 loss to the Timberwolves. That game flatters them. They were down by as much as 34. Cousins committed another 7 turnovers. Get the ball out of this guy's hands unless it's down low or on the perimeter. Don't let him touch the ball in your own half of the court ever. He's a league-leading turnover guy. Pelicans are in a major shooting slump. They have hit 34 of their last 136 threes. They missed 13 of their first 14 against the Wolves on Saturday night. I think the Pelicans will at least come out strong.
Well, this is what I'm concerned about, Jimmy DeBag, and tell me what you think here. Maybe the Pelicans are starting to be a little bit reminiscent of OKC, what we saw in the beginning of the year, where they're just a team that should be doing better. And when they should step up, when you expect them to step up, if they have any pride, they would step up. All those kinds of situations, they still mostly don't. You think we're seeing something like that here?
I think they're a difficult. Yes, I do. I find if I can stay away from teams like that, I can stay up in the NBA. Yeah. And it's when I start making bets for or against these teams that I get burnt.
And listen, I'm kind of snake bit with New Orleans because their win against Utah, I had that game pegged as a good spot for New Orleans, you remember? And I took them on the first quarter. That lost. The first half covered easily, and they won outright. Yeah. So I'm snake bit on New Orleans, Jim. Snake bit.
Yeah.
My lean is to the first half, -3 on New Orleans.
You know, that's where I would like to be, and that's where I'm just going to leave it. I'm going to do a 1-unit bet. I'm going to take them on the first half, -3.5. Or is it -3?
Pinnacle has -3. A few places have -3 juice, so Pinnacle has -3, -115.
-3, -115 first half, and that's all I'm going to lose.
All right, I'll go on with you. I'll go on that one with you as well. New Orleans first half -3, -115. You know, once again, it just seems like I call New Orleans games right, and the picks that I make wind up being the losers and everything around it. I'll tell you what: if New Orleans covers the first quarter and the full game, but loses the first half, then I'm officially snake bit in a major way here.
I think you're going to come on now, man. I believe in you.
Yeah. All right. Let's look at some other games that are kind of interesting. Well, Houston and Chicago. Houston still without Harden. You know, they've lost 2 in a row now. I was thinking maybe and Chicago in that last game. Who was it against? They were at home against Dallas, right?
Yes.
And that was the game where I was thinking maybe they would have some value at +5.5. And actually, I think they were up in the first half and they were looking like they were going to cover the whole way. And then they kind of faded. Another ATS loss for Chicago. I was thinking maybe under here. What do you think, Jim?
I am going to leave this game alone. The Bulls have confused me so much in the last few games. They're coming off that ugly 39-point loss to the Pacers, so I expect them to play better. They've looked terrible defensively. They've allowed at least 124 points a game over their last 4. Mirotic has a stomach flu.
Yeah.
Doubtful for tonight. Rockets have won 2 and 9. Mbah a Moute remains out of the lineup. He clearly means a ton to this team's perimeter defense. Nene Hilario will miss a 3rd straight game. They're coming off the 108-10 loss to the Pistons team without Andre Drummond.
What do you think about a shot with the under? I mean, you know, they got the win against Orlando. That was a great call. I think. I had the under on that one. I don't know if you had the under or not, but we took Orlando on that one. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't.
But I had the under, and that was a great call on that one. Then they played Golden State. That game went way over. Maybe you throw that one out. Then they went up against Detroit, a game that went under. They lost that one. Feels like maybe even if they win this one goes under. What the fuck are you laughing at? I'm trying to talk to you handicapping right here. What the fuck are you laughing at? We're trying to talk handicapping here.
There's gags. Okay, I think that the Bulls can't be trusted defensively. They're playing terrible. Now, Matt Leotti says they were very tired versus the Pacers. All In says Mirotic is that what we talked about. Damon Bellard says Bulls are like Detroit. They win games they're supposed to, lose the ones they're supposed to win. Brandon Cummings is on the Rockets first half. I think, and Rem says too many unknowns in this game. And I'm with Rem here. I just don't feel confident. This Bulls team is playing so sloppy defensively. They were only winning when they were playing so intensely. And maybe Mirotic helps their defensive intensity. Maybe the stomach flu was going on last game when they got blown out by 39 points. Maybe it's going through the team. I don't know, but I don't feel comfortable with this game.
Here we go. Brendan Cummings. The under is 4-1. Last 5 in Rockets games against the Bulls. I'm going to take the under here. I'm not going to double up on it, but I am going to take the under. I'm going to take it. Let's see where that line is. It's headed down a little bit. There's a 221, a couple 221s available at UWager and Heritage, so I will take that one. You think I'm making a mistake here, Jim? Be honest.
Obviously, the Bulls have been screamed and yelled at for how they're playing defensively.
Right.
Would I be more comfortable if Mirotic was healthy and on the floor? Yes.
Okay, I'm taking it under 221 at Heritage. That's just one play. A bunch of other games on the card. What are you liking, Jim? I
am on the over in the Bucks at Pacers game. How did Victor Oladipo look after missing 4 games? He played brilliantly. 9 for 11 from the field, 9 assists, 5 steals, and the Pacers beat the Bulls by 39. He sat out the rest of the entire fourth quarter. These teams played last Wednesday with Oladipo out. Bucks won easily, 122-101. The Bucks are coming off a big fourth quarter rally at Washington on Wednesday, winning 110-103. Antetokounmpo put up 34. Eric Bledsoe scored 15 of his 21 in the fourth quarter. It was a good comeback game for the Bucks after getting blown out by the Raptors. Bogdan Bogdanovic missed Saturday's game with a sprained ankle. Should be back tonight. He's a scorer. He helps the team roll. The Bucks continue to be held back by their terrible rebounding. They're last in the league, averaging 38.5 a game. In that 19-point loss we talked about in the earlier section of this show against the Raptors on the Friday night, they were out rebounded 18-2 in that decisive third quarter. The Pacers can't take advantage of this discrepancy. The Pacers are not a very good rebounding team either. I think there's going to be buckets. I like the over.
All right, let's find the best bet for you, the best line there. It is headed up a little bit. It opened at 214. It's now up to a 215.5 or 215. The Greek still has 215, so we can give you that one. Indiana over 215 minus 110. That's at the Greek. Everywhere else has 215.5.
Ray Uribe, I like Bucks Pacers over. Baby bets, Milwaukee, Indiana over. My man Brandon Cummings, I think that over is awesome bag.
Yeah, I think that was. Let me just find my. I think that was one of my picks, but that I didn't bet because I'm taking it very carefully. I'm only one lesson in sports betting. Only bet when you really feel like you have a good read on a team or a play or something like that. Right now, I admit I'm a little bit off on NBA, at least on the full game line. So I'm making my picks, but not necessarily betting them pretty easy. But that was one of my picks. I liked the over in that one, and you think that's a good play, huh?
I think that's a good play. It's a play I trust. Billy T says Bucks blown out by Toronto. Didn't they lose in OT? No, they got destroyed. Oh no, yes, they got destroyed, and I was on the Bucks. That's why I know for sure, Billy T. And Vitalis came on the Bucks with me, and they got absolutely annihilated in the second half and lost by 19. Yes, I think the over is the play.
All right, I'll take that one as well. I'm tailing all your picks here, Jim. I hope you don't mind. I love it. Over 215 minus 110. That's a line at the Greek, and everyone else has 215.5. Let me once again just quickly check the first half. Oh yeah, first half is way higher than 50% than of the 215, 110.5 or 111. So we'll hold off on that one. What else do you like? Let's talk about San Antonio, Sacramento. That's an interesting game. Always San Antonio games, very tricky games because a lot of times San Antonio can be good bets. Some of their best bets can be on the second halves. You know what I mean? Sacramento, of course, can be a lower scoring team. I was thinking about an under here. That was my lean. Didn't bet it though because it's very low down at 199, but that would be my lean. What do you think about that game, Jim?
Well, Leonard, Ginobili, Green, and Parker. Parker, we don't know for sure, but Leonard, Ginobili, and Green will be held out for tonight's game. Spurs have beaten the Kings in 22 of their last 23 matchups. Kings have won 2 of 7. They're coming off an 8-point victory over the Nuggets. Now, this Kings team, I initially had a bet on this game, and I just took it away. I never know what Kings team is going to show up. They're coming off an 8-point victory over the Nuggets where they scored an NBA season-high 40 points off of 2 turnovers. Amazingly, I couldn't believe this stat. They have an NBA best 28.8 net rating in the clutch this season, despite having an NBA worst minus 9.9 net rating overall.
There you go. Motherfucker does research. That's what you call research, people.
But that is a tricky thing. How can you have the worst net rating in the entire league, but the best in clutch? I mean, that's very difficult to handicap.
Sure.
Their defense shows up one night, doesn't show up the next. They held the Nuggets to 98 points on 46.5% shooting, forced 25 turnovers on Saturday night. In the game before, they allowed 131 points to the Hornets and forced just 4 turnovers. They've received a big boost from De'Aaron Fox, 35 points on 11 for 23 shooting on his 2 games back from injury. George Hill and Frank Mason will be out. Zach Randolph will be back following mouth surgery. When Zach Randolph's on the floor, I think their defensive intensity is heightened. I think their unders happen when he's out on the floor. But I wish George Hill was there. He's out off for the birth of his child. What's the move you like?
I was leaning under, but it's it's right where it opened, 199 or 199.5. 199.5 would be the best line right now. It's a little bit down there, but what do you think, Jim?
My first play was the under. I was also going to take the Kings to cover.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well. I mean, the Spurs, though, off a loss. Oh, I hate betting. I don't care who the players are. I hate betting. As long as Popovich is the coach, I hate betting against the Spurs in any situation off a loss. I know that recently that has not been as bad of a thing to do as it was when they were absolutely elite. But it still just feels like a bad thing to do at all times.
You know what? I erased both the under and the Kings on the spread. I like them both, but with this Kings team playing Jekyll and Hyde, I'm not going to risk my cash on this team that I just can't trust. And the dichotomy between how they play in the stretch or in the crunch time compared to how they play all game long is ridiculous. Yeah. I'm not going to risk my cash on them.
All right, let's talk about Cleveland, Minnesota. I didn't have a bet on this one. I'm probably not going to, but on my picks spreadsheet here, I did take the over when it was 220. It's now all the way up to 220.5. Can certainly understand why that line would be going up. I am assuming that the betting public is all over the over on this one. Maybe they're on the right side there, though. Cleveland obviously been very, very explosive offensively in 2 out of their last 3 games. What do you think, Jim?
Well, I just think anybody who's listening to my bet so far, feel free to trust them. But anytime it comes to a Cavs game, I am doing so badly. So take that with a grain of salt. Like, I just can't figure out when to fade them and bet on them. I keep telling myself I'll stop betting on these games, but I like the Timberwolves here. The Wolves opened up a 5-game homestand on the Saturday night with a big 116-98 win over the Pelicans. Initially, I thought the over was a play, but they're playing so much better defensively. They're 21st in the NBA overall, giving up 109.4 points per 100 possessions. In their last 10, they're 6th in the league with a 103.6 defender rating. Does that have to do with Jeff Teague being out? Is he not a strong defensive point guard? Is Tyus Jones that much better defender? These are questions that I can't fully answer at this point. The Cavs are coming off a 131-127 victory over the Magic in Orlando. It snapped a 5-game road losing streak for the Cavs. They should have been able to beat this Orlando team easier than they made it look. They made it look extremely difficult. It was the second game in the lineup for Isaiah Thomas. He clearly gives them different dimensions on offense, and he's poor defensively, as we know. They put up 127 points in their other game with them. The 127 points they allowed versus the Magic was the most they've allowed all season, but they have allowed 6 straight opponents to score at least 100 points. They're 26th in the league in defensive rating. You know what? I should not bet this game, but I already sent it in, so I'm going to make it an official pick. The reason why I'm saying I shouldn't do it is that I've done so poorly with this Cavs, but they look bad on the road. The Timberwolves are playing very well. They're going to be up like crazy for this game.
Ray Uribe here says Minnesota's playing well. Cleveland will get up for this one under. On the other hand, Brendan Cummings says the over is 6-1 last 7 in Cavs against Timberwolves. We are seeing a very high total here. The first half total is 115, which is and Ray Uribe is saying Minnesota will slow the game. So and then King Rail says I'm on the under tonight in the Cavs game. So yeah, some back and forths here as far as the total is concerned. I'm with your basic lean on this game, Jim, which is total pass. I'm not touching it. Certainly not going to bet it, and I'm not going to give it a pick.
I've already bet it, and it would be hypocritical of me if I would put it would be if I put my money on the line. It wouldn't make an official pick because it would be
lack of ballsy of you. But I mean, if you legitimately change your mind, then it's just you change your mind.
But I'm changing my line because of how bad I'm doing handicapping the Cavs, not because of any. So no, I'm going to take the Timberwolves, but I'm not sure whether I should take them spread or money line.
Well, it's just +1, so probably on the money line. We could probably find you a +100 if you want, or you could take +1, which would be a lot of places now have them at -1. So the best line would be +1 -107 at Pinnacle right now. Or we could give you a money line if you want me to search for that.
Do you mind?
Oh, sure. No, not at all. Let me just make sure. I can't see shit with these shades on. So, all right, +1 -107. Can't see fucking shit. Cannot see shit with these shades on. +1 -107. And looking for the money line, Minnesota best line would be +100. Yeah, at Pinnacle.
Okay,
if you
I'll
want
take
that
the
one.
+1 -107.
All right, Jim's going to take Minnesota +1 -107. That is a line right now at Pinnacle. All right, we just got 2 other games, right? Denver against Golden State. Golden State returns from a small road trip, and of course, absolutely lights out offensively. Put up over 120 in each of their games on that road trip, and the game before that at home put up 140. So they're exploding offensively, Jimmy the Bag. It's going to happen again here. What do you think?
This is so tricky. Revenge game for the Warriors. They lost 96-81 to this Nuggets team on December 23rd. It was the most lopsided loss of the season for the Warriors. The least amount of points they put up at home in the Steve Kerr era. They went 3 for 27 from 3. Durant has been ruled out, but Curry, Iguodala, and Green will all be good to go. They're coming off a 3-0 road trip with the last 2 wins coming without Durant. The Warriors lost 9 games total in the 3 seasons previous to this one. This year, they've already lost 5 games at home. The reason why the Nuggets are playing better is Gary Harris has turned into one of the best perimeter and on-ball defenders in the league. He will have his hands full with Klay Thompson. They might switch him on to Steph, depending on who's hot. Denver's won 5 of 8 games, coming off that ugly loss to the Kings. They were clearly looking ahead to this matchup. The Nuggets joined the Spurs and Grizzlies, the only team to beat this Warriors team 4 times over the last 4 seasons. 96-81 on December 23rd, when the Warriors only went 3 for 27, is stuck in my head. I think it's going to be a shootout. I think that even without Durant, and you know what? I think games are higher scoring without Durant in the lineup, because we all think of him as this hitting daggers from 3-point line. We forget how incredible he is defensively over the last little while.
Ish Kurt saying Golden State first half, which can be a great way to bet a lot of Golden State games. Jimmy the Bag, some other comments coming in. The standard comment that you get on every Cavs game when they're involved in a game with a competitive spread. They show up, they come to play, and some people saying that they like the Cavs here. Sean Thompson saying Cavs took steam this afternoon, kind of puzzled, but I'm leaning Cavs. People saying that LeBron will get up for this one. Miguel Vega saying they usually step it up against teams that are doing good, and believe me, LeBron will get her up for this one. The old standard comments involved with the Cavs games. Fade them as a big favorite, as a double-digit favorite against teams that they look like they should blow out, except once in a while, and more often than not, bet on them when they're against good teams with a competitive spread, Jim.
I agree.
I'm just reading the comments here.
And I agree with the comments. Brian Arpin's on the over. Michael Vega's on the over. Adam Lastman's on the Golden State first half over. I think there's going to be buckets tonight.
Antoine Seymour says, in all caps, Jimmy Cavs roll. Adam Lastman says Cavs team total over. Not really seeing anyone agreeing with the play on Minnesota here.
I get it. If I'm going to make a bet on a Cavs game, I would take the opposite as well. I get it. But in saying all that about the Nuggets and Warriors, I think they're going to go bucket for bucket. I think that Harris is going to have to decide who he's going to defend.
Mm-hmm.
Jamal Murray, Canadian boy, he likes going shot for shot with these guys.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not a ridiculously high over. I worry that the game against the Rockets, where I had the under, I worry that over, seeing all those buckets being scored, is pushing me towards the over and not my actual capping, but what I watched in that last game. That's my concern.
Right. Here we go. Great comment here from Dave Wolf asking, am I a shitty dad because I'm watching your show during my daughter's basketball game? Love my daughter, but girls basketball is the worst and can't miss the show. Thank you. So you're not a shitty dad, Dave Wolf. No. You're not a shitty dad. You're a dad who's relaxing a little bit, Yeah. Dads deserve to relax. It's a thankless job. Everyone's slamming you. You know what I mean? Kids are slamming you. Women are slamming you. Your wife's slamming you. Dads deserve to relax. No, you're being a great dad watching this show.
Sean Thompson puts it succinctly, perfectly. Says, Dave, you're a great dad.
Yeah, exactly.
You're at your game representing. That's a good dad in my book.
Absolutely. All right. Jimmy the Bag. So you want to make a play on the Golden State game? I'm thinking about taking Golden State on the first half. What do you think, Jim?
I understand that play, and I am going to take. I think the Warriors. I think one great thing about this Warriors team is when Durant's out, the boys want to show that they can win without Durant. When Curry's out, the boys want to show that they can win without Curry.
And it's a legit revenge game. I mean, I know Golden State doesn't really have anything to prove to anyone, but they got beat at home somewhat recently. They got to remember. I don't care if they're the national champion. I don't care who they are. They got to still be remembering that, right? Or no?
They have to be remembering. Yeah. You're absolutely right.
I'm taking them. Golden State first half. Let me find the best line. I'm taking them, but I'm taking the best line. You're damn right. I'm not taking the worst line here. It's 5.5 or 6 minus 5.5 minus 103 at Pinnacle. I will take that one. Golden State first half minus 5.5 minus 103. Just one play.
Nicholas Vasilak is on the Golden State Warriors third quarter, and they've been uncanny in that quarter. I understand that it's hard to make that kind of call so early. I like to watch the flow of the game, but I totally understand that play, Nicholas. Yes, I am going to take the over in this game.
Okay.
After breaking it down with you guys, it wasn't a move I had made before I got here, but I will take it and add it into my action.
Okay, let's find best line. Kind of all over the place. 226, 225 and a half, 225, and Bookmaker has 224 and a half. So we'll give you that one. Golden State over 224 and a half minus 110. Right now, as we speak, market very uncertain. Pinnacle with 225, Heritage with 226. Bookmaker with 224 and a half, and a bunch of places with 225 and a half. So everything all over the place will give you over 224 and a half minus 110. That seems like a really good play, Jim. I might wind up tailing that one myself. And then we got one more game. We got to wrap the show up pretty quick. But Atlanta against LA. Atlanta played the Lakers, and interesting. I took on the second half. Remember, we thought they were going to be a good bet against Portland, right? I went big on Atlanta in the second half in that game and took a big loser. But then the next game, I learned my lesson. Took the Lakers big on the second half, made it all back, baby.
Nice.
Not sure. Atlanta looks like a pretty fadeable team right now, Jim. What do you think?
Yes, they do. But have you heard this Clippers starting five?
Yeah, I know.
C.J. Williams, Jawan Evans, Montrezl Harrell, Sam Dekker, and DeAndre Jordan. And I love taking a team after getting blown out. And another capper who loves that is our guy Tomarino. He absolutely loves taking teams after they get blown out.
You mean like after they got blown out against Portland, came back, got blown the fuck out again?
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. It clearly didn't happen against the Lakers.
But the Clippers are a vulnerable team here right now. Yeah.
And so now I had to get my rule now is anything under 5, I will take the money line, but 5 or up, I will take the spread. Fortunately my fucking locals with Bet365, so I had to take the money line here. But I believe there's some 5s, even 5.5s. So I'm going to be on the Hawks. Blake Griffin took an elbow to the head versus the Warriors in concussion protocol. Teodosic, Rivers, Gallinari will all be out of the lineup. Hawks have lost 4 straight, 4 or 5, 11-14. The last 2 losses have been disturbing. Dennis Schroeder put up 27 points last night, 10 for 23 shooting. He's the only one stepping up. I just don't see these teams getting trounced. Oh, here, Ray Uribe says Atlanta took a night off. They will bounce back tonight, Atlanta. And Robinson Yepes, who I miss, what a great guy, I miss you, pal, says Harrell's an underrated baller. He's a really good defender, and I don't mean to put these guys down.
Yeah.
They shouldn't be in your starting squad. That's all. And
You're being realistic, Jim.
Yes. And so, yes, I think the Hawks are going to cover. And in fact, this is my favorite play of the day.
Really? All right. Well, there's no 5.5s, but the Greek does still have a 5. Actually, the Hawks are taking money now. It's juiced at many places. +5 -115 is the line right now at the Greek. And what do you think maybe about a shot with the under? You had a great call on their under at Portland. Do you think we're going to see a similar thing here, considering that LA has gotten scorched recently, and maybe they'll try to clamp down on defense, knowing who the starting 5 is here? What do you think about an under? What do you think about that?
I think that is a good play. The reason why I can't jump on it is just because of the extreme volatility with not knowing how these. I mean, I agree bringing in Lou Williams off the bench, but how these guys handle starting minutes, I just can't trust it enough. But that would be my lean.
Yeah, it is a. Let me see. I mean, LA has been getting absolutely blown out defensively recently. Do you think that's an anomaly, or do you think that they can turn that around? I mean, it came against obviously 2 offensive juggernauts, obviously, right?
I think the Clippers are in a lot of trouble until Blake gets back.
Well, that line is getting bet up, but I'm going to take the under on this one as an official play. The Clippers game under. It is headed up. It opened at 212.5. Now it's up to 214 or 214.5. But I will take the under 214.5 -108 at Pinnacle right now. So Jim's taking Atlanta +5 -115. I'm taking the under 214.5 -108. And I'm thinking about throwing on some overs in that Denver Golden State game. I'm thinking about throwing on the first half over. What do you think about that, Jim? You think Denver Golden State's just going to come out and roll offensively once again? Or do you think they got it out of the system already?
I expect buckets.
Yeah.
Straight up, I expect buckets from this game, and I love when Jamal goes toe to toe with these guys. Isamo's asking if I'm taking the Hawks money line or the spread. Here on the show, because there's a 5 available, I'm going to be steadfast to this rule for the rest of the year. So on the show, I'm taking +5, but I couldn't get it with my local, so I have the money line, and I got +165 on that.
All right, I'm going to take the Golden State first half over, and it's this one also all over the place. 115, 115.5, or 114.5. So a bunch of places have 114.5. I'm going to take the bookmaker line over 114.5 -107, and that's it. We covered every game, Jim.
Beautiful.
All right, so let's review all the picks that we've given in NBA. Jim gave Brooklyn under 218, New Orleans first half -3, Golden State over 224.5, Minnesota +1, Indiana over 215, and Atlanta +5 -115. And I took the Brooklyn game under 218 and the first half under 111.5. I took the Indiana game over 215, going along with Jim there. New Orleans first half -3, Golden State first half -5.5, the Clippers game under 214.5, the Bulls game under 220. And the Golden State game first half over 114.5 -107, and that's it. And I also threw on in the NHL Toronto -1. All right, shall we move on, Jimmy the Bag? Let's just scan any comments, people agreeing with us, disagreeing with us. Let's see. Anything else? Any other comments that are interesting to you, Jim? Let's scan some of these comments.
Aspire Too Late says Duke would blow the Clippers out. Clippers getting bitch slapped. This is a pretty nice spot. Now I know clearly if you watch the Hawks over the last 2 games, it's very difficult to have confidence in these guys. I couldn't believe John Collins in that last game was like a minus 25 or something while he was on the court. I like him, and I expect more from him, and was disappointed in that. All In says no Griffin, no Teodosic, no Gallinari. The Hawks are going to cover.
What about this? Tom Marino says Golden State struggles with good frontline players. Jokic should give them trouble. You agree with that, Jim? You think that?
Yes, Jokic will give them trouble, but I see this game being played on the perimeter. So because of that, I think that it's just going to be a 45-50 threes will be jacked up by the Warriors. That's what they do when they're angry. They don't slow the pace down and go inside. When they have when they want revenge, they don't try and get to the paint and get their elbows up. They want dagger after dagger after dagger outside, and they want to rest everybody in the fourth.
All right, so I guess that's about it. Shall we move on, Jimmy the Bag?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's move on to college basketball. I did make a couple of bets on my own. I did take what did I take? I took the under in the American game at 145.5, and I took Loyola Maryland, I believe, +2 over Holy Cross, and those were the only two bets that I made. Let me just make sure. Let me just refresh my my memory here. Looking at let's see what's on SBR odds. There's only 3 of these games are on SBR odds. Yeah, Jackson State. I would also have a lean to Jackson State +7 against Southern, and the Bucknell Lafayette game is going to be a pass for me. Slight lean to the +11 there. The games that aren't on the card here: Army against American. I took that one under 145.5, and I also took a shot with Loyola Maryland +2. But since those aren't even on SBR odds, no one will be able to even like audit them and check them. So I won't even consider those as games I can give a pick on. Could give a pick on Jackson State +7 against Southern University. I know you didn't look at that one, Jim, did you?
No, but the one thing to note I can give you is my friend Dave, who's doing very well in college basketball. His best play and only play of the day was Bucknell +11.
-11.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, -11. Yeah, I mean Bucknell is a strong team. All right, I would have a lean to Jackson State +7, but I didn't look into that deep enough to want to risk a unit, even though I do have some units to burn here. I'll pass on the college basketball card. Although once again, I did bet the American game under 145.5, and that one I like. That one I do like. So that would be a recommended play. But I'm not going to throw that one onto my official record either. And I think we're going to wrap this show up, Jim. Right? We got to get out of here. We're going up to the Sheraton Hotel, where we're going to do some live broadcasting from the Sheraton with Gabe Morency hosting, and I'm not sure what the schedule is going to be, but any questions they have for me, I'll answer. I'll go on camera whenever they need me, as will you, Jim.
Yeah, I'm excited. It'll be a fun night.
Jim's all happy. All right, so let's once again review the NBA picks we gave. Jim, Atlanta +5, Brooklyn under 218, New Orleans first half -3, Minnesota +1, Golden State over 224.5, and the Indiana game over 215. And I took in the NHL Toronto -1, and in the NBA Brooklyn under 218, the first half under 111.5, New Orleans first half -3, Golden State first half -5.5, the Indiana game over 215, Clippers game under 214.5, the Bulls game under 221.5, and Golden State first half over 114.5. And that's it. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. Thanks, as always, for all your very informative stats and opinions and analysis and breakdowns in the chat box. It really, really helps us a lot. We will be back tomorrow at 12 o'clock Eastern time, as usual, breaking down the full slate of games with college basketball and all the pro sports and everything. And we're headed off to the Sheraton. Tune in and catch our live broadcasts of the College Football National Championship. Once again, Jim has the under and the first half under on that one, and I took the first half under as well.
And I did add in the Hurts under 170.5.
Okay, nice. And I also took Georgia +4.5 when it was 4.5. That's it. We'll see you tomorrow at 12 o'clock Eastern time. Thanks for tuning in.
Hey guys, we have Vice President of CG Technology, Matthew Hold on with us. Matt, welcome in. How you doing today, buddy?
Hey Drew, Happy New Year. National Championship Day, so a lot going on. We do Super Bowl style props, so there's a ton of different ways people can bet the game tonight, and they've pretty much come out in droves. And unexpectedly, we're actually doing more prop handle this year than we did last year, considering last year's Clemson team had Deshaun Watson, Wayne Gallman, Mike Williams, so many popular players. Yet this year's handle thus far is outperforming it in terms of handle on the game and player props so far. So it's going to be a big night here for the national championship.
Yeah, good stuff, Matt. I actually saw on Twitter you put that out, and give Matt a follow on Twitter. He's a great follow for UFC, also college football, NFL, at Matthew Holt VP. Matt, one thing you tweeted just like an hour ago, you took $200,000 bets on Bama, money line -190, and also two $50,000 bets, Bama spread. Is that moving the line for you guys?
Well, we were 3.5 yesterday, and we had a gentleman come in and make two separate $50,000 bets. He actually bought a half a point down to Alabama -3. Both bets for $50K. Took a $100K bet on Bama money line last night, along with some other significant smaller five-figure bets. Moved the line to Alabama 4. We just actually took another $100K bet on Alabama -4 about 15 minutes ago. So that Bama liability is really starting to add up. I mean, going into yesterday morning, it was less than $100,000 liability on the Alabama side, as we were getting pretty good two-way action. 24 hours later, it's already a $500,000 liability on Bama, and only, continually growing today. So it's going to be interesting to see where this one ends up.
So could you see it get to 4.5 or even 5?
Yeah, there's already plenty of 4.5s out there. We've been holding off because once you go to 3.5, you hate to go to 4.5, because then if it lands in the fall number of 4, you can get middled and put in a bad spot. So we'd rather stay at 4 and take on a little more risk than some of the other books. So, some of the smaller books, or some of the books that are a little less risk adverse than we are, tend to move quicker than we do. But I certainly, look, the way the liability is piling up, there's certainly a very distinct possibility where 4.5 come kickoff.
And Matt, you're saying you have exposure on the Bama side. What about number of tickets written? Are you seeing that number towards Bama as well?
Yeah, I mean, that's certainly in favor of Bama, but it's actually a lot closer. So it's only about 1.5 times more tickets written on Alabama thus far, which isn't bad. It's just the money now is about 3 or 4 times higher on Bama, because all of the big bets, 50K or higher so far, all on the Crimson Tide.
Okay, yeah, no, that makes sense. And you sent over the prop sheet you guys put out, a bunch of props. So if you're in Vegas, check that out at CG Technology. I saw a couple of them. Do you have particular liability on any single prop bet you put out?
So the 4 props right now with the highest liability in this order are Calvin Ridley to have more receiving yards than Javon Wims. That's our biggest liability right now, Calvin Ridley. Actually, Bo Scarborough to score a touchdown at around 2-to-1 odds. Second biggest liability. Third biggest liability, and this one's kind of funny considering they're betting Alabama. Team to commit the first turnover, they're betting that Alabama will actually turn the ball over first at a plus price. That one's been pretty good. And then Jake Fromm to have more passing yards than Jalen Hurts tonight. That's one where, we opened it about a pick 'em. They're hammering Fromm pretty good. Looks like, again, despite the fact that they're betting Bama, they're betting the Georgia quarterback in that prop.
And Matt, back to the full game betting. Just earlier you had Alabama -3. Now you're up to 4. But at that time you had first half betting the line at -3, so only a half a point difference. Is that normal to have that close of a halftime line to the full game line?
Only in a scenario like this. It only happens in a scenario where you have a full game line that's somewhere between 3.5 and 5, because you want to have that 3 in the first half. That's kind of the key number. So, normally what you have to do is either you have to make the first half a pick 'em, minus or plus a half, or you normally go to 3. Rarely in first half bets will we go 1.5 or 2.5. It's usually either plus or minus a half, or plus or minus 3. So in a game where we're going to get so much handle, the -3 first half with a -4 full game, certainly not that abnormal.
Okay, Matt. And one prop that caught my eye, you have most rushing yards, and you guys put out odds on 5 or 6 players. And I see you got Jalen Hurts here at 9-1. And I believe he was Bama's, second leading rusher. So have you seen any action on that prop?
We have taken a little action. In fact, on that particular prop, you're right. Jalen Hurts is our biggest liability on that particular prop. Second biggest liability, Sonny Michel. Those are the two that they're hammering the most there. Sonny Michel and Nick Chubb both get about similar amounts of carries and both have take it to the house speed. So whichever one of those can break off a big run, probably going to be the leading rusher for Georgia. On the other side, to your point, Jalen Hurts, the second leading rusher already for the Alabama Crimson Tide, actually averages, starts to get more carries than Bo Scarborough at sometimes during the games. So again, if Williams doesn't pop off a big one, and Hurts certainly has the opportunity to do it, all six of those guys I think are live. And you're right, maybe Jalen Hurts at 9-1 is probably the price that could certainly hurt us the most.
Yeah, that caught my eye, especially because it's the national championship. Last game of the season, I could see them kind of having a lot of run pass options there for Hurts. So I might take a shot with that one at 9-1. And Matt, last year you got a futures ticket on Georgia, huh? You put that in before the start of the season, you personally?
Yeah, I went out in May, and I try to put some futures in early for every sport because that's always where you get the best numbers. People always ask me about futures, and I always tell people in the middle of the season, a lot of times it's when you get really bad numbers unless you're playing a team you expect to come back. So in May, I went out and bet 4 teams, all at pretty long odds: Wisconsin, Miami, Georgia, and one other one. And at 30-1, Georgia was the smallest odds, but they got there and they're in the championship game. So that's my only action tonight.
Nice, man. Wisconsin, Miami, and Georgia back in May. That was a hell of a bet there. So going into this game, I guess with the line at 4, are you hedging it all?
No, I'm just gonna sit it out. I figure the book needs Georgia. I have to root for Georgia anyway with my ticket. Rather than hedge, I'm just gonna let it roll and see what happens.
All right, nice, Matt. Well, hey, we appreciate you taking the time. Anything else you want to give out to the watchers before we wrap this up?
No, I mean, I guess tonight, really, look, it's all about national championship game. Best of luck to everybody. And I always tell people, look, if you're looking to bet this game tonight and you're not sure which side you like, if you like the side or the total, I mean, we offer a ton of props if you're here in Vegas, but anywhere you're at, the great thing about these big national championship, the Super Bowl, these huge events, is there's so many ways to bet these games, including in-game wagering and everything. So, find a way that you want to bet it, that you seems fun. I hope everybody enjoys the game. Best of luck. Take care.
All right. Give Matt a follow on Twitter at Matthew Holt VP at CG Technology. Matt, we'll see you next Monday.